What's going on, guys? Christopher Lopez here with Jersey Beast TV, your source for men's strength training, muscle building, and fat loss information. So in this video, we're going to be covering how to gain muscle mass fast, how to gain it quickly. All right? So the year was about 2004. I was about 20 years old. And this is about 2 years after I started getting into bodybuilding. I lifted in high school. I didn't really know what I was doing. I just kind of did whatever the other kids were doing. So it was a lot of chest and a lot of buys. So about 2 years, year and a half, 2 years after I started to get into bodybuilding and lifting and starting to read more about training. And I was seeing guys in the magazines, right? I wanted to get as big as possible. I wanted to look like that. Little did I know, obviously, a lot of those guys are on different cycles and have access to different resources that people like you and I don't. I didn't know that, but in my head, I wanted to look like that. So I went to the vitamin store in the mall. The giant gorilla behind the counter basically told me, take this weight gainer 2200 and eat as much as possible. Just get calories in, bro. That's what he said. Just calories. You need just eat calories. Okay. And lift. Perfect. Seems easy enough, right? So I go home without doing any research. I started downing this weight gainer shake, which is 2200 calories. Probably 80% of that is straight up sugar, straight up carbs. So if you're watching this, don't go to the vitamin store and buy that weight gainer. It's bad. And I was eating pizzas and washing it down with a protein shake, or eating a bag of almonds and washing it down with a protein shake, or eating cheesesteaks and washing it down with a protein shake. Because in my mind, it's like, okay, I just need calories, got to get the calories in, and then once I gain all this muscle and all this weight, I'll just strip it off. Little did I know that I was going to balloon up to about 235, and it wasn't obviously all muscle mass, right? I wasn't watching what I was eating. I was just eating constantly, to where it was like almost annoying. And I got to about 235. I'm only 5'6", to give you some perspective, and it wasn't all muscle. I looked like a circle. I got really strong. I got really big. I looked good in clothes, not so good without a shirt off. So I think what I'm trying to relay to you guys is do your research before you jump on any program. Make sure you kind of have a bearing. You have your bearings when you're looking to jump on a new diet program or jump on a new lifting program. Don't just listen to people. All right, make sure you dive a little deeper. I took what he said for face value. He probably, I mean, in his defense, he was in great shape. So in his defense, he probably meant I just need calories and just assumed that I knew it had to be clean calories, like your potatoes and your oatmeal and your meats and your eggs and your dairy. If you guys want to see a couple of videos, go check out my gallon of milk a day diet video. That's another bulking video, but check that out after this one. So, do your research. Make sure you have a good idea of what you're actually looking to accomplish, and read. Most of what I know is from reading. There's so many different resources out there. There's this YouTube channel. There's my blog, Jersey Beast TV. There is numerous resources out there. Everything's at your fingertips at this point. I mean, back then, the internet wasn't as big. There were not as many training blogs, training sites, and the ones that were up were kind of spammy. They were kind of very high into spammy marketing and things like that. So do your research. Now, what we're going to cover in today's video is a few things that you can do to make sure you're gaining muscle, not weight, because it's easy to gain weight. I did that pretty quickly, and I got really fat. It's easy to gain muscle. It's very simple to gain muscle pretty quickly if you do it. If you train right, you eat right, and you recover right. So what we're going to cover in this video is a few things to keep in line so you don't get fat like me. So here's a funny story. So because I got fat, I guess it's not funny. Because I got fat, I have a hard time getting super lean now. I can still do it, but I have to do a ton of conditioning, ton of cardio. I got to eat perfect. I can't miss workouts, can't miss meals. A lot of guys can get away with, missing their conditioning session or their cardio session, skipping a meal, or, going off their diet. When it comes to me getting lean, ripped lean, I can't do that. It's because I still have fat cells that are there. I still got a little loose skin from being fat, so the struggle is real. But again, going back to the whiteboard here. So a few things to keep in mind when you're looking to gain muscle mass fast, okay? Number one, nutrition. We hit on this one a lot in these videos because it is hands down the most important. The most important. Obviously, I gained a lot of muscle mass when I was 20, but I also gained a lot of fat, and it's a bitch to try and cut that off in the summertime. I could do it, but it sucks. It's definitely much harder now. If I was a little smarter, did my research, probably read a little more at that time, maybe got some books on bodybuilding or how to eat, I probably would be in a better spot. But it didn't happen, so no big deal. So nutrition. Few things you got to focus on in your nutrition. There's two ways you can go about this. No matter which way you choose, you have to make sure you're getting enough calories. And what do I mean by that? So your calories, right? There is a baseline. Okay, there's a baseline. This baseline basically is the amount of calories you need to maintain your body weight, your muscle mass, your fat mass. So for example, let's say this is, I'm going to continue over here. Let's say this baseline is 2,000 calories. Now, I don't know if that's accurate for you, but it's an easy number to work with right now. Okay? To lose weight, to drop weight, we need to cut below the baseline. So we are actually taking in less calories than what our body needs to maintain our body weight. Good number for this is 250 to 500. Minus 250 calories to minus 500 calories. Obviously, if you're looking to cut weight quicker, you would go a little closer to the 5. But most people, I usually start them off around subtracting 250 calories from their diet. And this is a good way to kind of assess where you're at. You can always up it, you can always lower it. If you're losing body weight too fast, you're losing, you might be losing muscle. So maybe, we could play with this number. It's a good number, an easy number to go with. If you're looking to gain weight, it's the opposite, okay? So if you're looking to gain weight, you want to add 250 to 500. And what this is going to do is actually increase the amount of calories over your baseline, all right? So again, start with 250. You can always play with that number. If you're not gaining fast enough, maybe then you go to 350 or 400. If you're still not gaining fast enough as you would like, your strength is not increasing, maybe you go closer to 5. Now here's the key. For the sake of this video, we're talking about gaining mass. We'll work with these numbers, okay? So let's say your strength is not jumping as fast as you would like it to, all right? You can go from 2,200 or 2,250 to 2,500 calories, okay? Anywhere in that range. Start with that. You don't want to go from 2,000 calories to 5,000 calories because, again, going back to my gallon of milk a day diet video, I got big really fast. There's a whole series of videos on this channel if you want to go check those out. I'll link them up. But I went from about 2,500 to 2,800 calories to about 5,000 calories overnight between a gallon of milk a day and 2,000 calories worth of eating. It was very interesting. We'll put it that way. All right? So focus on adding calories slowly. Now remember, if you are doing your lifting and you are still doing cardio, which I do recommend if you're still looking to gain weight, it helps keep body fat down. Remember, because of the cardio or the conditioning, you're actually going to be burning more calories than you do just lifting, all right, because you're working out more. So always adjust this number here based on what you're doing, okay? And again, there's no perfect science to this. It's just assessing, recording what you're doing, tracking your meals, tracking your calories, tracking your weight on the scale. If you have one of those body fat scales that actually gives you body fat measurements, it's not perfect, but it gives you an idea of where you're at. If your body fat starts to get higher, obviously cut back on the calories or increase your conditioning a little bit. Okay, very simple. The second thing we got to talk about, can you guys guess? Not training. Training is number 3, okay? Is recovery. Now, why are we talking about recovery over training? Because if you train too much, you're not going to grow. Very simple. I get my best results when I lift 3 to 4 days out of the week. That's it. I know a lot of guys lift 6 days a week. Some guys lift 7 days a week. You can do that, but you got to remember, you can either lift more, right? Lift more per session. So maybe you're doing an hour session each day, an hour and 15 minutes, 3 days a week. Or if you lift 7 days a week, maybe you're only doing 15 to 20 minutes of lifting. It's a trade-off. You cannot lift. If you are a natural guy, you cannot lift 7 days a week, balls to the wall, 110% all out, and expect to grow. Because you need to rest. You need to recover. The growth process is started with training. It ends with recovery and sleep, okay? So recovery, sleep is very important. Try and get 8 hours. If you do not, I understand. I have a 2-year-old daughter at home. I haven't slept good in 2 years. So sleep is very important. Try and shoot for 8 hours. If you cannot shoot for 8 hours and you get less than that, like for me, I average about 4 to 5 hours a night. It sucks, but that's what it is. So what I do is I take a natural sleep aid. I've mentioned this in some other videos. It helps knock me out so the quality is better. So if I only get 5 hours, it's better quality. All right? Think about it. So at least what you are getting is sound sleep. Recovery, days off. We just touched on that. So days off, you got to make sure you're not killing yourself every day in the gym. You can do that when you're 20, okay? When you start to get mid-30s like me, you start to hit 40 and 50, it's very, very tough to add muscle mass and lift every day. Very tough. And then, I know right away, if I start to lift too much, let's say 1 week I do four days a week, or maybe even 5. I'm feeling good that week. I hit 5. My joints start to hurt. It's your body telling you, back off a little bit. Take your foot off the gas a little bit, okay? So days off, very important. Now, this doesn't mean you can't work out, okay? So on my days off, I'll jump rope, or I'll go for a walk, or I will do a 15-minute kettlebell circuit. You can still move, just don't look to be doing 10 sets of 10 every day. Okay, you're not going to be able to get away with it very long. And then also, important part of recovery is number 1, nutrition. If you are not eating enough and you're looking to gain muscle mass and get stronger and you are not eating enough, you will not grow. It won't happen. Okay, so nutrition isn't just supplying your body with calories, but it's supplying your body with the fuel that's going to help you repair that damaged muscle fiber. Remember, like I said, training starts the process of growth, and the recovery is what finishes it. Okay? And that's why training is number 3. Training. Now, quick word about training. You can get bigger, I want to say bigger, doing any type of resistance work. So you can lift with kettlebells, you can lift with dumbbells, you can lift with bars and plates, you can do body weight work, you can use bands. But the key here is the style of training. No matter what your goal is, obviously you're watching this video, so you're looking to put on more muscle. You have to remember that you have to train for your goal. Okay, you have to train for your goal. So we think about this, okay? What genre of training consists of guys who are big and jacked and ripped and strong? Most of them are strong. What genre of training, what style of training? We think bodybuilding. So take up some sort of bodybuilding split to make up the majority of your training. The majority of my lifting is bodybuilding because that's what I love to do. But it's not to say I won't jump rope or push some sleds or flip some tires, okay? I use those exercises to fill in the gaps, fill in the conditioning and cardio gaps, fill in the strength gaps. There's something to be said for doing odd object work, like with kegs or with kettlebells or with heavy 1,000-pound tires. It's going to give you that strength and fill in the gaps that you can't get from fixed bars and plates. There's just something about real-world strength that you get from flipping a 1,000-pound tire 10 times that you're just not going to get from just traditional lifting. I mean, think of it this way: everybody has a family friend, or maybe your dad has a buddy who is into manual labor of some sort. The guy looks absolutely normal, average looking dude. He may have a little beer belly, but he's strong as an ox. He has that real world strength. He has that strength that only comes with doing manual labor for 30 years. So think of it that way. So that's what I use the odd object stuff for. But the majority of my lifting, when I'm lifting, is strictly bodybuilding, because that's what I love to do. I like to feel the pump. I like to feel big and full. So train for, you guys see this down here? Train for goal, right? You're not going to do a marathon training split, training for a marathon and expect to get big. I mean, that's an extreme case. Obviously, that was probably a stupid analogy. It's common sense, but think of it that way. You can't get big. You can't get huge and jacked doing boot camp workouts. Not going to happen. So pick up some weights, pick up a bodybuilding book. I'll link some down below for you guys as well. I have some bodybuilding programs that I've written that work really, really well. I'll link them up for you guys. But remember this, okay? To gain weight rather quickly, these 3 things have to be in line. Now, I'm not saying you're going to gain 10 pounds in a week or 10 pounds of muscle in 2 weeks, because that's utter bullshit. You can't do that. But to gain quality muscle mass as fast as possible, you need these 3 things. And probably the most important thing of all, we'll make this number 4, consistency. This one is the key. If you are not consistent with your nutrition, and you are not consistent in your recovery and your sleep and your days off, and you are not consistent with your training, growth will not happen. It just won't. Or it will happen at a snail's pace, and you'll be looking for the next best, next best program, or you'll be a diet jumper, or you'll be a program jumper because what you're doing is not working. And I guarantee you, if you follow some sort of bodybuilding split, you're getting a recovery and getting quality calories in above your baseline. As long as you're being consistent, you're going to see some sort of growth. The awesome thing is once you start to plateau, right, it doesn't necessarily mean you change programs altogether. It's all about small tweaks to your program. So you could do the same training split you've been doing for the past 6 to 8 weeks. But maybe instead of changing the exercise, which you could do, changing the exercises or changing the program completely, you change the rep tempo. Maybe you're doing slower reps, okay? You change, maybe you add some advanced techniques. Maybe you start doing drop sets or supersets into your workout. Or maybe you start doing rest pause. If you don't know what these things are, comment down below and I'll be more than happy to let you know what they are. But you can start playing with little tweaks. Little tweaks. For nutrition, the little tweak would be adding a few more calories, right? Maybe adding another 250 or adding another 200. You start to plateau a little bit, you're growing. Because once you gain weight, let's say you go from 200 to 205, or maybe 200 to 210, and you stop gaining, but you're still training hard, you're still recovering, that tells me that your baseline calorie count is no longer that. It's no longer 2,000. Maybe the baseline now is 2,750, and you're only taking in up to 2,500. Now, the tweak would be going to 3,000 calories. Okay? See how that works? It's not rocket science, guys. It's not super complicated. I think people overcomplicate this training thing. So take this stuff to the bank, implement it, and I guarantee you, you will not get fat like Guy did. You will not blow up. Just be sure to do your research. Watch some more videos on this channel. Make sure you subscribe because I'm putting videos up pretty regularly. And, it's just don't overcomplicate it. Don't overthink it, okay? Usually if you're not gaining, it's one of these 3 things. One of these 4 things. Consistency, right? So, if you found value in this video, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you like it. Comment down below with your questions if you have them. And before I go, I want to leave you guys with a free gift on the right side of the screen. My way of saying thank you for watching my stuff, being awesome. Obviously, hope this hopefully helps some of you guys. But I always leave you guys with a free gift. It's my way of saying thank you for spending the last 20 minutes. This is a long one. The last 20 minutes with me. All right, guys, snag your free gift. Click the link on the right side of the screen and put your email in. I'll be sure to send it to you. And we'll see you guys in the next video.